Hey guys, it's time for the final training video for the stats section of the training. Really the only training you need. It's time to put it onto League Lineup. This is the League Lineup homepage, but our web address is leaguelineup.com/Huntington Wiffle, so we're just going to go ahead and go with that. It takes us to our Huntington Wiffle League Lineup site. This is not our actual website. This is a entirely different website that a lot of leagues do use for their website, not just their stats. But down here in this red bar, that's the administration button. Once you guys get there, you need to hit that. Now, each one of you, as a captain or trusted person on the team, will have a username and a password that myself or Greg will assign to you from the administration position on the website. So, go ahead and have that on there. Really, only the captain should be doing this. The less people that have your team's password, the better. The odds of someone being mean-spirited enough to tamper with stats is, probably not likely, but why take the chance? Okay, so just don't be passing your password around willy-nilly. Okay. Back in the day with our old league, we did use League Lineup as our website, not just for the stats database that they have, which is pretty excellent. We continue to use it to this day, so it's worth its salt. But the navigation can prove to be a bit tricky. Now, you will never have to create a division, create a schedule, or anything. That's my responsibility or Greg's responsibility, or if we delegate someone to do the schedule entry, that is their responsibility. But most likely it'll be me. So you never have to worry about that. All you have to do is just go to game results. It has stats in parentheses there. That's what it looks like. Okay, it's under team setup. Okay, then you go to game results/statistics. It's edit the game results and statistics. This stuff is pretty self-explanatory, but this is just to make sure you know what you're doing. Okay, and it takes you to the full schedule. This is the 2013 Huntington Wiffle League fall ball schedule we had. And if you go to any of those games, it gives you the date of that game, the time it began, stats if it was final or delayed or whatnot, the visiting team, the home team, location, which we have one or two fields at the time, and then you can edit it. Okay, so let's go to the first game between Bag Tag and the Pitch Slappers on August 27th of 2013. This is how it looks. There's a scoreboard at the top. Now remember, this is a baseball program. Everything should be, for the most part, modified for wiffle ball. Okay, so you see the scoreboard there. First thing you need to do if you're entering this in is to switch this from, it'll say to be played, to complete. Okay, and then innings played. The games we play are 5 innings unless you go to extras, so please bring that down and do it accordingly. Headline, just give me a little something about what happened in the game, and a game summary will be nice. Okay, from there on, everything else you need is right here in these checkboxes. It will start out in the offensive part when you hit edit. When you do pitching, you need to go to this tab here and hit pitching, but first put in the offense and hit save changes before you do that. Okay, so the first thing you'll need to do in the menu there, it's your batting order, so and that's the blank square there. You need to tell me what order they were. There's these two check columns right here at the beginning for game and game started. Since we don't really have a bench, you need to check both of those. The first column there is at-bats, runs, singles or just hits, doubles, triples, home runs, RBIs, walks, strikeouts. We don't do hit by pitches or stolen bases or anything like that. After strikeout, you just sort of skip all the way to fielder's choice and then left on base. We do keep track of both of those stats. So you enter all those in. And so far, the agreed upon thing that between Greg and myself is that the home team for each game is responsible for putting those stats in for both teams. Now, if you're the visitor team in this situation, you really should be tallying your own stats, which you can revert back to our second video in this training series. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit save down here at the bottom. That'll take us back up to the top. Then we need to go to pitching stats. It's that third tab there at the top. This is a different thing. It takes you to this different page. Now, be sure to hit Save Changes when you're doing the score and offensive stats before you get to this point, okay? I cannot stress that enough. It does not always save, and sometimes it can take some time, okay? Now, notice all these zeros here. This goes not only for pitching, but for defense. You can just leave those blank. This is a filled out version of one of the game sheets on here, so you know, it's not always just a 0 there as a placeholder. It's typically blank, but you don't have to put a 0 there if it's a category that we don't use, per se. Just leave it blank, and then when you hit Save Changes, it'll automatically be replaced with a 0. Because if you start putting zeros in, you can just start getting dizzy from the numbers, okay? But this is what we keep track of with pitching. Similarly, with the batting order, we have the pitching order, who pitched first, second, and so on. It's just first or nobody. I left those blank, and when I hit save, it automatically made it 0. Game and game started, that can actually pertain to pitching. If you're not the first pitcher, if you're a relieving pitcher, then you just hit check for game. If you don't do that, none of the stats will go through at all. Okay. Then we do innings pitched. We can't do thirds, so we never fill that out. Runs and earned runs. Hits, walks, we don't do those two categories, but we do strikeouts, and then we check whatever makes sense. Was it a complete game? Was it a win, a loss, a save, a hold, or a blown save? We don't do pitch count, sadly. That's what those last 4 columns are for right there. So we don't do balls thrown, strikes, anything like that. Okay. Same thing for the bottom, just for the home team. And it has everything labeled, has all the player names and everything in this program set up already, because that's my responsibility to also set up the team pages on here. So it's very simple. You just go in and enter the data. You can do this on your laptop. You can do this on your phone. You can do this on your tablet. It is easiest if you're using a device that has a keyboard like a laptop or a personal computer. That's my preference. I will have a laptop and a tablet on site with a MiFi box there I have through the phone company. In order to have a signal to the internet, so you can enter these stats in. Not everybody will get a chance to put their stats in on site, perhaps, but that's the goal. That by the time the last person leaves the field, that we all know where everybody stands in the leaderboard, the standings, how many games back are you, how far away are you in the home run chase, and things like that. So this is the brain of the whole operation of how we keep track of stats. Keeping track of stats is what separates us from somebody just getting together and drinking beer with their buddies and hitting some balls around. Nothing wrong with that, but you know, keeping the stats is what makes us a league. So it's very important that it's respected, and you guys do all you can to keep it going. Okay, so this is how you've seen all the videos now, how to keep the book on site, how to tally up those stats, and what to do with those stats on our league lineup database. Okay, so you're now in the inner circle. I'll see you out on the field.